Hi, Ozians. Welcome to Marnie's TV. I'm Denise, and my partner in crime is Mary. Mary, say hi.
Hi.
And you know what? Before we get into this here Emerald City recap, I just want to tell y'all how Mary just put me on blast when her dad told me. She told him that I don't keep things G-rated when I'm the innocent church mouse in all of this. And I'm just like, why?
Nobody asked you to do this while we're recording. Look.
Okay, anyway.
Look.
Okay, so we got a little bit different format. We're going to go ahead and recap the whole episode just briefly. And then we're going to go ahead and give our commentary because we kind of feel like the whole episode needs to be talked about before we go into what we really feel about it. Okay, so Mary, you want to go ahead and start us off?
Ooh, okay. So the episode opens up. I was a much more optimistic person back then. It starts off with monkeys just leaving en masse from Emerald City, from the palace, just flying away. Everybody's like, what? And then Ozma and the Witch of the West, they come in, taking over. Ozma, doesn't want to kill people. A quick little aside, there was a very short scene between Dorothy and the wizard where you see the wizard's got all the guns. He's ready to go to war. Dorothy was like, no, I'm going to stop this war. Like, you told me to stop the war. And he's like, I told you to kill Glinda. Like, the wizard just starts going off of the rails at this point. Back to Ozma. Ooh, they bring in the lion. It's Aemon. Of course, we all knew it was going to be Aemon.
You know what? We did know that, but I felt some kind of way. But anyway, so Aemon, he's pleading with Ozma to show mercy and forgive him for killing her parents. He did it to save his skin, and then she calls his family forth. Again, he's pleading for his family, and then she decides to wipe their memory of him from, of his whole family, basically. So part of his punishment is to be stuck in lion form and walk around as the beast he is.
That was so strange. But then, that technically now he's the cowardly lion, like, check one. Ozma is crowned queen. And then we cut to Jack at the end of episode 9. He's decided that he's going to be a one-man army and go up against the wizard. He's already dead anyway. He gets to the wizard. He's about to shoot him. Jane stops him. And then all of a sudden you feel like this aura. There's like a vibration, like something big is coming. And it's a tornado made up of locusts, flying things, small witches.
They were bugs.
Not 100% sure. Yeah.
Like dragonflies. They were bigger than dragonflies. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, they were weird. They were weird little things. You got Glinda and Dorothy in the middle of the eye having their own little showdown. Glinda brings out Sylvie.
Now, I was really hurt that she used Sylvie as a pawn in her battle against the X's. But moving along. So she has Sylvie destroy the stone giants, which Dorothy has reanimated. And so she's trying to basically thwart Dorothy's plans. And she ends up making a miscalculation because the stone giant, when it breaks apart, it does hit the witch's temple, and it kind of limits Glinda's powers. Yeah. And so all of the flying bugs disappear, and the witches are shown.
Yeah.
So in comes the wizard. He's like, I gotta stop this. He shoots, and he shoots Sylvie.
Yep.
And then his soldiers come out and start shooting all the witches. And we think they're dead. Dorothy is really hurt about Sylvie.
Yeah. It was a really weird part of this where Glenda just blames Dorothy for everything. Dorothy just walks off. She's like, "That's it, knocking soldiers over, one over another."
I
Jack,
really like that scene. I must say that was one of my proud moments. Sorry, go ahead.
Jack gets chopped into pieces. I'm just sitting here.
I felt some kind of way. I really did.
Then this is the second time now. Dorothy gets to the wizard. She's about to kill him. And then the wizard's like, "You can't leave without me. You need me." And Dorothy's like, "Dang it. You're right. I can't kill him, but I'm going to make your life miserable if I can't kill you." And then next thing you know, all the dead witches are getting up. And Glenda's like, "Don't forget, only a witch can kill a witch." And I'm like, like that was super weird. And then they all leave. And I'm like, okay, what was the point of this? Cut to who we were all asking about earlier, the man with no skin. So we cut to the skinless man. What you want to talk about him?
Oh my God, it was so gross. He pulled some skin off of one of the upper branches.
I think that was his skin. Like
I believe it was his skin. And then he puts it. Well, when he puts it back on, he comes back into his true form, and then he. Oh, okay, yeah, but yeah.
I can't handle him.
And then okay, so I think we forgot to mention that Jack is about to kill the wizard before a lot of this went down. And Jane comes up to stop Jack. And the wizard is like, "No, Jane, save me. And the reason why you need to is because your daughter is in Oz and you'll never see her." And of course, Jane is like, "Wait a minute, you're a liar. Now really kill him, Jack."
Yeah, that's right. And then I was like, "What? Your daughter?"
Like, "No, I'm serious. Dorothy is in Oz." Lo and behold, bombshell. Karen was never Dorothy's mom. Jane is. So who's her dad? Who's her dad? You know what? We'll get into that later. I'm sorry. Where were we with the beast? With the man? Okay, so we find out that he's the beast forever.
Right. So he's turning into the beast, and
Nahara helps him escape.
See, that's what weirded me out.
Which I'm confused about. But we'll again talk about that later. So
then they move us back into Emerald City, where Glenda and the witches show up with West and Ozma. And they have this, actually this part was actually good. They have this talk about magic and reason or science, can work together. And Glenda's like, "No, there's only room for magic. Magic is the only thing that we need in Oz." And West is like, "Well, that just makes you just as bad as the wizard." And that's the point where I realized, like, West has been the good witch all along.
Yeah.
And Linda is the one that's been kind of keeping everyone prisoner this whole time. I thought that was a really great thing right there. And so then, again, you get that aura, something's coming. Jack is in pieces in the field, and like this thing flies over, this shadow is cast over him. And I'm like, oh, here comes the beast forever. And then Dorothy and the wizard are at the tornado machine about to head home to Kansas. Jane shows up, shoots the wizard. Finally, he's dead. He's without his struggle wig as well. So it's kind of nice to see, like,
I'm sorry, I must say. All of this time, the wizard has had this struggle wig.
Oh my gosh, it's such a mess.
After it's snatched off, we realize his hair is just admitted defeat. Like, what? What is this foolishness?
Yeah, that thinning white hair. I was like, ew.
His hair was just. I was like, put the struggle wig back on. Okay, so they're tussling, and Dorothy is like, okay, what happened? She's trying to wake him up, and he's like, oh, he's dead. And then Jane tells Dorothy, look, I'm your mom. I'm going to help you get back. Let's go back to Kansas together. And Dorothy's like, look, I don't trust you. And Jane tells her about the 5 dots on her hand and explains to her that she's really her mom and convinces her to go back to Kansas. So she's turning on all the machines and she pushes Dorothy in, and at the last minute she closes the door to send Dorothy back to Kansas, but she stays behind and she's like, it's really to protect you. I can't protect you here.
And let me just add this right quick. You know what that reminded me of? The movie Armageddon, when Bruce Willis pushed Ben Affleck into the thing back into the ship and he said on the asteroid to blow it up. He's like, no! Like, that was the part. That was it.
You know, honestly, I feel like that's happened a lot of times. Remember in the X-Men when Jean Grey sacrificed herself and they're all on the plane?
In the ocean, yes. It was all of those things together. Just not as
okay, so Dorothy, well, that's the end of Oz. So Dorothy is back in Kansas and she saves Karen, gets her to the hospital.
Yes.
And so she tells the police, there was some shots going, which the wizard did confess. He was the one who sent the guards there to kill Karen, which I was like, yes, I said that.
That was your prediction. You knew that. That was good.
And so, so Dorothy tells them that there was a tornado and something happened and she was knocked out, and 10 minutes later she woke up and helped Karen and called for help. So she's talking to her Aunt M and she's like, I had this weird dream. And she's like, oh yeah, everything is good. And then she looks at her aunt's hands and they have the black tar or ink on them, the same as West always had on her fingers. And she's like, oh, what happened to your hands? And she tells her that it's from picking walnuts her whole life. And she's like, oh yeah, okay, I need some air, and walks off. Then
she's
talking to Toto, or she sees Toto and they're back about to have a bonding moment. And the little scarecrow is up, and while she's talking with Toto, up walks Lucas, and he tells her that her mother's in trouble and she's here to bring Dorothy back to Oz with him to help save her from the Beast forever.
The end. Isn't that great?
No, I felt a lot of things during the progression of this episode. And I just want to say I was very disappointed. One being, there was a lot of time wasted on things that never came to fruition. I also didn't like the fact that we still didn't get a full glimpse of the Beast Forever. They started in episode 1 building and building and building. And I felt like at least by the end of the season, we should have gotten a real glimpse into who the Beast Forever was. I don't feel like we needed to explore him, or that would be for if they were having a season 2. But for season 1 finale, I really felt like we should have at least had an actual eyes on him in his beast form, knowing what he was.
Yeah.
You know what? We have a couple of things and we're going to go through it in order.
Yeah.
And then, So the first thing we want to discuss is the waste of Aemon, or the Cowardly Lion.
Yeah. Waiting until the 9th episode to bring the lion out, I feel like was the first mistake. I feel like ideologically, it was a really good way to have Aemon be the Cowardly Lion without being a lion. That he's just working for himself. He's just trying to save his own skin. He's on the inside a coward, even if on the outside he's a soldier. Like, they already had him great. But then they had to have him exiled with a lion hat on. No, I thought that was a whole waste because he was one of my favorite characters all the way through up until last night. Like I don't know.
And I felt like had this been episode 4 or 5, it would have been a good time to reveal that he was the Cowardly Lion. And then therefore give him time for redemption or what if they were going to exile him or whatever they were going to do. I just felt like that character, we didn't learn a lot about him. We didn't learn about his family. We just got a glimpse of his family in the past 2 episodes ago when he showed, or no, was it 1 episode ago?
Well, we got a little glimpse of him as like a family person. Early on when he wanted to take care of Sylvie, we realized that he did have a child.
Yeah.
The rest of his case was secret up until yesterday. Yeah.
Okay. So okay, so then the war scene. I kind of, you know what? I wasn't totally disappointed in the war scene. I knew it wasn't going to be kill all the characters type of war. I did like Dorothy and Glinda's showdown where they had their back and forth. They had their little tiff going on about Rowan / Lucas, and Dorothy, was in control of her powers.
Right.
You see Glinda being a stronger witch, of course, because she's been longer. And I don't know. I did like the war scene. What about you?
I like the way it looked. I like the fog and how like the guards were just basically shooting blind. And I feel like they did have a couple shots where they're accidentally shooting each other. I didn't really like the reason for it, that the wizard was like, we're going to go out here and just kill all the witches. And Dorothy even said that. She was like, well, these little girls are just doing what Glinda has told them to do. Like, they're actually innocent. And the wizard was like, it doesn't matter. We're going to go out here and kill everybody. I didn't like the reason behind it, but I felt like that was a very well-crafted scene. Had it been in episode 8, like a culmination of like a battle, and then sliding across into like war is useless kind of an ending, instead of that whole idea being stuck into 3 minutes of time, felt like it was rushed, but it was a higher point of the episode, honestly. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So then we talked about it a little bit, but I was like, the Beast Forever, or more like Beast Never. Like, I feel like
first of all, the introduction of the man with no skin. Forever, he's like, release me, I'll tell you everything. And Glinda being like, hey wizard, you know that the witches have nothing to do with the Beast Forever. And then you realize, oh, it's this man who East jailed, or she was in charge of that realm, right?
Yeah.
So she basically saved Oz from the Beast Forever. Apparently, like, we don't even know how he was captured the first time.
Well, we know that the wizard has been using magic, but what he's doing is he's keeping people in chains, having them work behind the scenes, and then the people just see the science. Just like he used Nahara to raise the stone giants.
Yeah.
And he used East to, jail the Beast Forever. So
yeah, very true.
But in the crazy part about it is they were still it shows how they were still working against him and keeping secrets, because he didn't even know that the Beast Forever had nothing to do with the magic that was going on.
Yeah, I feel like this was like his descent into madness, but at the same time, like, none of it made any sense. Like, he was just yelling. It's like Voldemort in the last Harry Potter. He's just yelling for no reason, acting unhinged and crazy. And I was like, that's not the wizard. That hasn't been the wizard all season. You know what I mean? And then you add the stuff about the Beast Forever on top of it. That was like, oh, I wanted more info. Even if we never got to see him, I would have been okay with not seeing him if I would have gotten a little bit more backstory instead of like, okay, this is something people in Oz are afraid of, and that's it. You know?
Yeah. No, you know what? I agree. I would have been okay had they given us some type of understanding of why the Beast Forever is around, or even if they would have gave us 2 sentences telling us, you know, what he's against. Like, I don't know. And so I don't want to feel like I hated the episode. I didn't hate the episode. There was a lot of good things about it. I did like the acting. I thought Vincent, what's his name? The one who plays the wizard. I thought he did an excellent job. He was out giving those presidential speeches. He was like, look, this is what is and what isn't.
One of the stronger, he was one of him and West were the strongest players in the whole season. And when the wig
came off, you really got to see into who he was when Dorothy was telling him, you know, hey, you know, we can go back to our life in Kansas. And he's like, what life? I didn't have a life. I was nobody. And if you admit it, you were too. And Dorothy's like, wait a minute.
That's a really powerful moment.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed that. Mm-hmm. And so, Jack, let's talk a little bit about Jack's descent into this. Poor Jack. As we know, he loses Lady Ev and he decides to go off because he's already dead and, you know, stop the war and kill the wizard. These were his goals. Stop the war and kill the wizard in that order. And he was almost successful in that. But like we talked about, Jane stopped him. And he did say something. Oh, my God, I wrote the line down, but I bet you I can't find it. He told, oh, wait, was it your sacrifice will be noted? Is that what he told the wizard?
Yeah. That was pretty amazing.
Anyway, I was like, Jack is a G. Around here, he came. Oh, yeah. When he walked on the scene, like he was taking soldiers out and he got to the wizard, he was ready to take him out. But like we said, Jane stopped him because she wanted to see if he was telling the truth about his daughter and then about her daughter being there. And another thing I really felt about the episode, I feel like we didn't come out knowing really anything that we didn't know at the beginning. We knew the wizard was a liar and a fake at the beginning. You know what I mean? And I feel like we knew a lot of things. We did find out about Jane being Dorothy's mom, but what does that even mean in the grand scheme of things? And who is her father? Because Karen and Roberto were together. So Roberto is not Dorothy's dad, as we thought.
Ew.
Right? Didn't she say Roberto was killed in the, you know, he was with Karen, right? Okay.
Where was they're having an affair?
I'm sorry, we got off because we were talking about Jack's descent into madness.
Well, yeah, we can come back to Jane later, but the thing I wanted to say about Jack was like the wizard, he also became unhinged. And he never reunited with Ozma, which I'm really sad about that. I wanted him to go find Tip.
And that's where I thought he was heading when he stormed off.
But like there was no room for shipping in this episode. And I feel like they gave us a lot of false hope. You know, TV, I have trust issues, so I'm glad I was cautious about it. But also the imagery of him losing his limbs again. He's the last time you see Jack, he's in pieces in the field as the Beast Forever is making its way to Emerald City, going, flying through Oz, over the Scarecrow, over the Tin Man, and Eamon looks up and he's flying over the Cowardly Lion, making its way to Emerald City. I thought that was really beautiful imagery, but just to leave Jack like that, we have been walking with him since episode 1, was a slight to him and to his character. I didn't feel comfortable leaving him like that, but
I agree. I didn't feel comfortable with it either. Now, like I said, I felt some kind of way in regards to how they treated him. And I felt like he was a brilliant character and he had a lot of layers.
Oh, yeah. They wrote him so well. And, maybe they're using him as a tease for, hashtag Renew Emerald City. Like, I would like to see more of Jack's story, honestly. But, oh, man, I don't like the way they left him. I really don't. It was hard. That was a hard thing to watch. Him descend into that.
So before we get into the last, the ending.
Yes.
How would you fix season 2? Like, I feel like Dorothy going back to Oz to save her mom, but she would have to find a way to unite the Cowardly Lion, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow,
right?
To kind of pull them to her side. I feel like if they gave us those characters helping Ozma to defeat the Beast Forever, I could be happy in a season 2.
Yeah, I feel like this was an ensemble cast that didn't work together. I felt like if we got more of the characters together, season 2 would be a better season than this one. Everybody was disjointed, coming from other sides. Now, they went against that stereotype of everyone thrown in at the first episode, like, oh, here, we all know each other now.
Right. I did like that. I like that they pulled it out, but I don't like how long, the length of time, I should say, that they dragged it out. I felt like it's a difference between knowing when to hold and knowing, when to fold, basically.
I'm still firmly of the belief that episodes 2, 3, and 4 was the weakest episode. They could have been one episode. They took way too long. No, 3, 4, and 5. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 3, 4, and 5.
4th was the weakest episode, and those 3 episodes could have been one. That war could have been the 8th episode, and Glinda trying to take over from Ozma and West. And then, like, Dorothy leaves and comes back at the end. Like, Dorothy coming back to Oz
would have been the last episode. I totally agree. And then the Tin Men, the Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion coming together to stand with Ozma and the witches against the Beast Forever.
Exactly.
That would have been a great finale.
Yeah. Honestly, honest to goodness, they could have still ended me on a cliffhanger like that, but ending it where it's like I want to know what happens, but I don't care enough about each person. If they were joined together getting ready for an actual war against an actual evil, that is something for me to get behind. But it was really hard for me to end this season and say, I wish there was more. I'm just upset that there isn't more. I can't describe it. But
I get that.
You know what I mean?
I totally get that. So the ending, of course, we discussed, it was Dorothy being in Kansas, and there was a little nightingale scene. And how did you feel about that, Mary?
Again, a certain show has given me trust issues, so I was not shipping Nightingale like super hard. Yes, Lucas is great to look at. I'm really happy about his casting, but like him and Dorothy together, I was kind of like, wow, of course they would send him to bring Dorothy back because, he's, her boo thing or whatever. So I am glad they gave the shippers that moment. I was not that person that needed to see that moment, but I'm glad it was there because at least somebody's together from
True.
Oz.
I'll say
But
this.
Toto shows up. He
After,
brought Toto, obviously.
I'm
So
sorry.
no, I'm just saying it's obvious that Lucas was the one that brought Toto because she didn't leave with Toto. So
Right.
I thought it was really cute that he went and found Toto and brought him to her. So it was a good, cute little tying off of Nightgale, which I'm glad they at least got some end game. Oh my gosh, at least somebody got some end game.
Yeah. Well, you
Out
know
of
what?
all my other ships that never did.
Mary is really a little bit, just a little bit upset.
Sorry, I'm angsty. Ugh.
Okay, well, I will say this. I was okay with the episode up until Dorothy went home.
Yeah.
I was disappointed after that. And then when not that I didn't have my disappointing moments during, but I was okay. And then at the end, I was like you, Mary. I was like, I'm never gonna be okay.
Why do we keep being betrayed? Because last week we were talking about, man, if this is all a dream, I'm gonna be so mad.
And
now
I would rather it been a dream and she woke up to Lucas in the hospital. I would have rather that happened. But you know what I did? I agree. It was a good moment that he found Toto, brought him back to her. They were reunited. They kind of had this little moment where he's like, look, I need you back. We need you back. But, I need you too. Wink, wink.
Now, here's one weird thing. How long was Dorothy in Oz? It was like, it had to have been a couple of weeks, right? I feel like each episode might have been a day almost, But for it to only have been 10 in Kansas time, that was weird to me. But
well, no, it wasn't really weird to me because oh no, maybe that was another book. But in the books, wasn't it in their time is like when they go in their time a second was like in real world a second was like days in their time or something like that, or was that another book? Maybe that was another book.
Well, the only reason I'm saying that is because Dorothy lived her life in the real world and then goes to Oz, but it's still only been 20 years for both of them.
Oh yeah.
You're right. See what I'm saying? And then like when she goes to Oz, it's only been 10 minutes, unless since she's magical, says, I want to go back to the moment where I disappeared.
Oh, yeah.
And she goes back and it's only been a few minutes.
Yeah, let's explain.
So that's one. Well, see, and I wish they could have like described something like that. Like, there's so much they could have done. And I feel like they said we could do A, B, or C and it'd be I. And they're like, you know what? Let's really make a couple people mad and do D. So I feel like that's what.
Yeah, I feel like it was something happening. Maybe they ran out of time or I don't know. Anyway.
I feel like they did some rewrites and I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, well, that is it. I feel like this has gotten really long. So I did want to just say a couple of things. Thank you guys for watching. And that we are going to be coming to you with some videos. We want to go back, do a shipper's memory lane. So I don't know, comment and let us know if that's something you guys would be interested in. Remember to like and subscribe. Mary, where can they find you on social media?
Oh, my name is @SimplyTheWorst. You can find me on Twitter. And Denise, where can they find you?
I'm at Forever Sam Sadies on Twitter. Okay, guys, have fun. All right, bye.